Good morning to all. Beautiful day. Welcome to our Santa Monica Unitarian Universalist community. I'm John Hart, your worship associate this morning. Whether this is your first time here or if you're returning to see a lot of familiar faces, we're glad to see you. Our theme today, You Are Only Limited by What You Can Imagine, invites us to consider not just what we might do, but who we might become. Imagination is how we reach beyond what is and toward what could be. It is how we begin to live more truthfully and more in tune with our values. But imagination doesn't always come easily. When we struggle to envision a next step, or to be our truest selves, we can turn to wisdom, both ancient and enduring. Ralph Waldo Emerson, one of the foundational voices in our Unitarian tradition, wrote in his essay, Self-Reliance. All right. There is a Unitarian in the making. Trust thyself. Every heart vibrates to that iron string. He challenged us to resist conformity and to listen instead to the quiet truth that lives within each of us. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. He also writes, do not go where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path, and leave a trail. With imagination, we can shape new paths for ourselves and for the world we dream of. And so we gather here not only to imagine our own true lives, but to imagine a better world, a world shaped not by fear or imitation, but by the creativity and courage we share in community. Together, we can turn imagination into action and hope into reality. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning. I saw some folks in the back. Yeah, come on down. There are plenty of seats right in front. I am Kikanza Nuri Robbins, and I too welcome you to our service this morning. Unitarian Universalism is a liberal, inclusive religious movement. There's a place here for every family that's committed to social justice, that's committed to learning about themselves and learning about people who are not like you. Growing together in community, we are in a holy space that has been built upon holy ground. The land that we are on has been sanctified by the work and struggles and lives of many people who lived here before us, a people that we may know as Gabrieleño or Tongva or Chumash. So we pause to acknowledge the people who were here before us. We pause to acknowledge the people who live here with us. We pause to acknowledge the many ancestors on whose shoulders we stand today. And so I light the chalice this morning, echoing our theme of imagination, with a quotation by Dan Zadra. I have no idea who he is, but you can imagine. And he said that worry is a misuse of imagination. Worry is a misuse of imagination.
Good morning, everyone. So today's opening hymn, because we are stretching our limitation, we are singing a hymn that we don't sing very often. So it might seem foreign to a lot of you who come to church often because it's new and we don't sing it that often, but we are going to try. And we are also so close to Pride Month. And this is a hymn that is that talks a little bit about that. So open your teal hymnals to 1019. I think it will be helpful because it's unfamiliar. And this is Everything Possible. Oh, sorry. Please rise in body or in spirit.
Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship. Thus we do covenant with each other. El amor es la esencia de esta iglesia. Buscar la verdad y su sacramento, y el servicio es la oración. Vivir juntos en paz, buscar en conocimiento y en la libertad, servir a la unidad en comunión, así es como convenimos unos a otros.
Good morning. If we have not met, my name is Jessica Tenhave Place. I'm the director of multi-generational religious education, which means I get to spend a lot of fun time with our younger friends here. And right now I would like to invite them, all the kids sitting in our kids' corner. Maybe James and Cynthia can help them grab some shopping bags that are over there. Can you help, Emerson? All right, and they're gonna collect food donations. So if anyone has brought donations for the West Side Food Bank, please raise your hands, and one of our helpers will come get that for you. Thank you, Emerson. Thank you, Sebastian, Ellie, so many of our friends helping out. It's part of what we do in religious education to teach our children that service is our prayer. And so we like to involve them with collecting donations, getting involved with different service projects throughout the year, and they are great help. Look at all those. We got peanut butter, some cans of beans, all good things to bring for our friends at the West Side Food Bank. Thank you so much, everyone. And so once we've done collecting, any kids who would like to can come join me on the steps for our time for all ages. Good job, everyone. Want to come sit by me, Eloise? All right, thank you. Okay, just waiting for our other friends to join us. There's Ocean, looking good. Oh, there's Calvin. Hi, Calvin. You got a bag?
I have done.
That's okay. You can come join us if you didn't get anything.
I can't get, but the biggest test, which I always said,
That's okay. That's okay. I guess that's a call from Calvin. Everybody bring more donations for next week so that he can have some to pick up too. Thank you for that encouragement. So today I want to talk about. Can you sit there next to? You want to get in between? So I'll find a spot wherever we want to be. Hi, Zia. So I have a question for everyone today. So let's put on our thinking caps, and we're going to use our imaginations. We've been talking about imagination this month. Make room for everybody. Can you just sit right there? Go ahead and take a seat. Can you maybe go on that side? I know we're crowded up here, but that's a good thing. It's because we have so many people joining us. So, woo! Okay, so we're talking about imagination, and I wonder if you all can use your imaginations and think of an answer to this question. If you can have any superpower, what would it be? Oh, Zia knows right away. What is it, Zia?
If I could have any superpower, I'd want to fly, because flying sounds really fun, and you could fly all you want, and it seems like it would be really fun to just be able to go wherever you want, and you don't have to be weighed down by gravity, and you could just fly wherever you want. And also, that way, I could say hi to the birds.
I love that. That would be a great superpower. Okay, so anyone else, if you have an idea of the superpower you would like, raise your hand. Okay, I see Calvin. What would you like as a superpower?
My superpower, it would be a Superman. I like Superman, and yeah, I like it.
I like Superman too. He's really cool. Did you have one, Sebastian?
I would like to be a beetle because one of the beetles squirts acid.
Wow, the science facts that I get from these kids, it's amazing. Sebastian wants to be a beetle that shoots acid. That's so cool. Did you have one, Emerson?
I wish I had invisibility so I could be the best person. So I could be the best at hide and seek in the world.
That's such a good idea. Invisibility. That'd be a good one. Oh, did you think of one more? Oh, well, let's let Quinn. He hasn't gone yet. What do you think, Quinn?
Power of imagination, because then I could just have a superpower if I want it.
Oh, kind of like any power you imagine you could have? That's a great idea. It's kind of like the wishing for more wishes from the genie loophole. I like it. So if you have more ideas, hold on to them because we're going to talk more in the cottage. But I wanted to talk about a superpower that is real, that we all have, that the power of imagination gives to us. And so with the power of imagination, we can put ourselves in someone else's shoes. So I know, what the heck? What does that mean? So maybe not. Do you know, Quinn? What are you going to say?
Well, one time I saw a magic show, and they did a trick where, like, they put each other in the other person's shoes, so that someone tapped one person, and both people felt it.
Well, that's like literally being in someone else's shoes, which is probably what you think of first, right? But I can think of, so it's sort of a metaphor, right? Because I've only spent my whole life being myself. But when I try to put myself in Vilma's shoes or Sebastian's shoes or Zia's shoes, it means I'm trying to imagine how they might see the world. Because we all see the world a little bit differently depending on who we are. And that's a superpower called empathy. Being able to think about walking around in someone else's shoes and how they might feel. And so I imagine, you guys use this power all the time because I always see you being kind to your friends and sharing things and we all work together. But imagine if more grown-ups use this superpower, right? If leaders of countries put themselves in someone else's shoes, maybe they would think twice before deciding to start a war. Or if leaders of cities put themselves into someone else's shoes, maybe they would think about spending more of our budget on people who need food and housing. And I think grown-ups, we sometimes think, oh, imagination, that's kind of a silly thing for kids. But it's this power of imagination that lets us walk in someone else's shoes and see things from their point of view and use that power of empathy to build a better world that works for everyone. So we're going to talk some more about that in the cottage, and we are also going to talk more about that, to put in my little plug, at Peace Camp, which will be a day camp happening right here at our church from July 7th through 11th for elementary schoolers from our church, but from anywhere, any guests who want to join us. And we're going to learn about having a more peaceful world by working together and learning more about our friends of other beliefs and faith traditions. So I hope to see you all there. Look for the flyers on the cottage window to sign up as both a camper or a volunteer. We're looking for volunteers. And so we'll talk about that more, and we'll go answer some of Calvin's burning questions in the cottage as we sing our way out. All right.
it's announcement time. First announcement, please silence your cell phones. Second one is, look, our church is really honored to always have visitors. So you can find out more about us at a table outside on the patio, but also every month on the first Sunday of the month, there's a visitor meetup, especially for visitors to want to learn more. And the next one is next Sunday, June 1st. And as always, there's a lot of things going on. There's lunches for bunches. There's a Women Plus meeting today. There is also a Kids Fun Day. But what I want to talk about is to make a shameless plug for Dining for Dollars. Last year, I went to an evening bridge party. Am I a good bridge player? Absolutely not. But I had fun. I made some new friends that night, and now I go to movies on Tuesdays with a group of people that I met through that going to Dining for Dollars. I can't say enough about it. So go bid, have fun, and you'll meet some new folks. And the important thing is, today's the last day. The auction ends at 8 o'clock tonight. So it's about voting in Chicago, bid early and often. So now I'm going to invite James Witzer to come up and tell us about the Los Angeles Pride Parade coming up on June 8th.
The father of Emerson.
Yes, I am Emerson's father. Hi. So yes, second Sunday in June every year, our congregation has been marching in the LA Pride Parade for, how many years has it been? I don't even know. It's been many years, decades. We're actually trying to figure out how many years exactly it's been. It is a long tradition that we've been doing as a sort of intergenerational event, LGBTQ plus allies, and it's a lot of fun. How many people here have marched in Pride Parade in the past? Okay, so ask these people if you want to know what it's like and how much fun it is. I want to note that we do this as part of an application process. So we're honored that every year the LA Pride Parade includes UUSM as one of the few religious communities to march in the LA Pride Parade as part of our commitment to human rights and equality and representing our values. And it's a lot of fun. And we're going to meet in Hollywood 2 Sundays from now around 11 a.m., maybe a little bit later. And we're going to contact us, the Peace and Social Justice Committee. We're going to help coordinate carpooling, public transportation, and you can sign up at the table, right?
There's a table for sign-ups. Next week, we're going to do sign making, and there's also a donation box that can help us with the funds. Yes.
And we're going to have new T-shirts. When are we going to have those? So next Sunday.
Great.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Can I tell a little story?
Yes.
My first time was either 2012 or 13. I had never been, not as a spectator or a participant. And I turned the corner, and there was a 6'4" Wonder Woman. It was cool, man. Massive. I said, wow, this is going to be fun. And it is more than fun. Everybody's having such a great time, the diversity. I live in Venice Beach, and it doesn't compare.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, it's almost time to greet your neighbor. Before doing so, please remember to listen for Ryan's piano cue to return to worship, which we will then follow with our music for the morning. All right, let's take a few minutes to say hello and greet those around you who are both familiar and new.
Hello, good morning, everyone. It is time. Hi, good morning. So did you know that it is Delta's 100th year this year? Like Delta Airlines. Isn't that incredible? Who here is an are there any fellow Av geeks here? No? Fellow Av geeks? Aviation geek? So it's Delta's 100th year, but for the music for the morning, we decided to, take you back in time. And since we're talking about limitation and imagination, we're taking you all the way back to 1903. Is it 1903? At Kitty Hawk, at the invention of the airplane.
On December 17th, 1903, Bishop Wright of the United Brethren received a telegram from his boys Wilbur and Orville, who'd gotten it into their heads to spend their vacation in a little camp out on the dunes of the North Carolina coast. With a homemade glider, they knocked together themselves. The telegram read, spend their vacation in a little camp out on the dunes of the North Carolina coast with a homemade glider. The figures were a little wrong, but the fact remains a couple of young bicycle mechanics from Dayton, Ohio had designed and flown for the first time ever a practical airplane.
In those days, flying machines were the big loud machines were the big nice. They were practical mechanics, could barely feel the loss of space. Overhead, duck spin turns, fish hawks, and rays flapping past my thoughts. Marshes, eagles, they were along there and figured out the loose and was as soft as anything they could find to fall in, taking off again and again. From King Devil Hill, they learned to fly. Aeronautics became the sport of the day. Combat were they to red dead. Comrades the key to red dead.
I released the wire that held the machine to the track. The machine started forward, into the wing. Wilbur ran at the side, holding the wing. The machine started slowly, facing 27-mile wind. It lifted from the tracks, Wilbur was able to stay with it until it lifted from the tracks. The course of the flight up and down was erratic. The first flight history of the world. Machine carried a man by its own power into the air in full flight forward without reduction of speed, landed at a point as high as that from which it started. When the points had been firmly established, we packed our goods and returned home, knowing that the age of the flying machine had come at last, When these points had been firmly established, we packed our goods and returned home, knowing that the age of the flying machine had come at last, The age of the flying machine had come at last, at last.
I know. Use your imagination. So, superpowers, flying, Delta. You're in a Navy shirt this morning? So, okay. It's been one of those mornings. And I'm glad I am here. Because it could have been one of those mornings and I was someplace else that I didn't need to be or didn't want to be. But at least here, it's one of those mornings, but I feel safe. I think. Joys and sorrows. We have many, do we not? Yes. Few names to lift up: Beverly Allison, Sarah Robeson, Trish Broussard, Tom Ahern, our sexton, came in today to say he was sick and he was going home. And then this is Memorial Day weekend, and so there are many things to remember, joys and sorrow, that are connected to Memorial Day. So whatever you brought in your heart, whatever joys, whatever sorrows, this is a place that is community. This is a place where I'm trying not to sneeze. This is a place where we can bring our joys and sorrows and share them with one another in a sense of community, in a sense of safety, in a sense of belonging. It is here where we can find comfort. It is here where we can find people to celebrate with us. It is here that we can find pieces of ourselves that we hadn't even noticed we had dropped along the way. And so we'll take a moment to take all this in. We're going to be meditating at the end of the sermon as opposed to now. So I'm giving you a heads up on that. But we'll take a pause. And talk about the only limitation that you have is your imagination. So those of you who know me, and some of you who wish you didn't, know that I am very creative. I have a great imagination. I'm the person, when you say, well, what could possibly be worse than this? I can come up with several things that are worse than this. It's ironic because the way that I think and I see the world was not valued when I was a child. My mother called me contrary. She would lament, you always have to be different. But I was always seeing things in a different way. I couldn't help it. I was always seeing another way of doing things, and I was articulate, and so I spoke up. I didn't know that I was creative until I was an adult. And then I learned that what I had was out-of-the-box thinking and a propensity for dancing outside of the lines. I loved a blank piece of paper as opposed to one that was filled with lines or grids. I was unbounded by other people's rules and norms, off the chart, with an internal locus of control. When I remember when I took that assessment, the guy said, I can't believe it, I've never had anybody who was off the chart like this. I was like, yeah, that's your problem. I had and still have a very high tolerance for ambiguity. I'm comfortable with not knowing what's coming next. I do want to learn, but I'm not a gatherer of facts. I'm more interested in the questions. Rainer Wilke, in his letter to one of his students, said, live into the questions. And I'm good at that. I'm good at questioning the questions. So someone will ask me something and I'll respond with, well, how interesting that you would ask that. What is your real concern? What are you not asking? Once named, I embraced these qualities of imagination and creativity, and I allowed myself to lead with these strengths. It took me longer to embrace my identity as an artist. But once I did, I saw the connection of imagination and creativity to artistry. It comes out in the way I sew, in the way I cook, the way I decorate my home, my work, my lifestyle. They all reflect my imagination, my creativity. For example, people ask, what pattern am I using when I sew? And they give me cookbooks because they know that I can cook, and they're puzzled when I don't get excited about them. I mean, it's a book of rules, right? They wonder, whose model am I using when I design an experience for a group? It's just not the way I work. I mostly just make stuff up. If I use them, the patterns and the recipes are starting points. I see the garment in my head, I feel the experience in my body, and I imagine how something's going to taste. I ask, what do I want the clients to feel? I read cookbooks for proportions and principles. I look at professional texts for techniques and again for principles. I don't want to learn the step for doing a particular thing. I want to know generally how to approach problems or situations like this. That's what I do now. It's not how I started out. Early in my career, I had to figure out first what I wanted to do with my education. I'm a generalist. I have a wide range of interests. I studied anthropology and sociolinguistics and speech and drama. But in terms of professions, all I knew was speech therapist, teacher. So I picked teacher. I became a teacher, and I was pretty good, but I didn't like working with kids. I know, there's that thing. I craved adult conversation and hands that were not always sticky. So my first lesson in adulting was just because you're good at something doesn't mean it should be your job. My second lesson was figure out what kind of environment you can be your best self in, and then find work there. So I knew I wanted to teach. I was best working with adults who had jobs. I wanted gigs, not jobs, so the environment for me would always be changing. So my third lesson was imagine how you can be happy and productive. Describe what you want to do, and then I started asking around, looking for people who were doing what I wanted to do. No one was doing the whole thing, but pieces of it. And I didn't have a name for it, but I soon learned that what I wanted to do was the job description for a consultant who worked as a corporate trainer. I imagined the job, and the work came to me. The same thing happened with my first apartment with real furniture, beyond the bricks and boards. I was missing a couple of pieces in the living room, and so when I arranged the furniture, I left empty spaces where those pieces would go. So my uncle said, well, what's that gonna be? And I said, well, I don't know, I'll know it when I see it. Well, how do you know it even exists? I thought surely that if I had thought of it, somebody else had thought of it too. And indeed, they had. It took a couple of months, but I found the perfect pieces that pulled everything together. So I was comfortable in not knowing, comfortable in living into the question, and confident in the vision that I had. I couldn't see the whole thing, but I could feel it. And I recognized it immediately when I saw it. Now, some people say that I manifested my destiny, and that depends on your spiritual beliefs. So are you one who believes in predestination, or manifestation, or free will, or personal agency? They're all philosophical terms for how the world works. Different ways of imagining and managing the ambiguities of life. How might you respond imaginatively if you believe your life is prescripted? Well, then you imagine the script and surrender to it. How might you respond imaginatively if you believe that your thoughts and energy create your reality? Well, then you mindfully co-create with the universe. Now, do you need a different metaphor? I got some. If for you, life is a garden, imagine what's growing there. Jazz improvisation, use what you have, perhaps in new and unexpected ways. Life is a river, jump in and go with the flow. Life is a magical mystery. Enjoy the surprise and make the most of it. So back to the story about me. That's how imagination and creativity got me to the life that I live now. And things were going along just fine, and then something happened. When I was 9, I imagined that I would be a minister. But in the 50s, girls couldn't be ministers, so I forgot about that idea until some 30 years later. Conversations with a client who became a friend reminded me that once I had imagined a different path. So I ended up in my 40s taking a different path, which is another story and another sermon, not for today. But on the way, I spent 40 days at a Jesuit retreat center. 50 people from 11 different countries in community, in silence. Whoa. Before the silence, we were taught different types of meditation. And what worked best for me was contemplation, where you enter into the passage. You enter into the passage as an observer, as a participant, as a director. For example, if you were reading a story about Noah's Ark, you could imagine yourself as one of the animals on the ark. You could imagine yourself as one of the neighbors who didn't get on the ark and who had made fun of Noah. You could imagine yourself as Noah's spouse as he was doing all this stuff. If you were in the Garden of Eden, you could imagine yourself as Adam, getting kicked out for something he didn't do. You could imagine yourself as Lilith, who, according to mythology, was Adam's first wife. You could imagine yourself as the snake. Oh, you could imagine yourself as their kids. If you're reading a news story or watching the news, you can imagine yourself as a player in that story. You can imagine yourself as the person who could shift the story and move it in another direction. You become part of the story. You focus on what can be or might be, and then you seek ways to shift or change or influence the action, or you just simply take it in and find answers to your questions. This is imagination as a spiritual practice. Now, somebody use imagination in this spiritual practice to show gratitude, for problem solving, for discernment, that is finding out what it is, what's next, listening to the whispers of the spirit of life. So it takes daydreaming to spiritual practice through intention, through mindfulness, and through discipline. That's why it's called a spiritual discipline or a spiritual practice, because you have to do it even when you don't feel like doing it. So I thought that we could do it this morning. So I've got a passage that I'm going to read for you, and we're going to practice. So first of all, I invite you to think metaphorically, not analytically. So I'm reading you the passage. Your job is not to listen to every single word and to figure out the meaning and to figure out what it means for you, but just let the words wash over you. And if a word sparkles for you or a phrase sparkles for you or you dive into the space between the words, that's absolutely fine. That's contemplation. Logic takes you from A to B. Imagination will take you anywhere. So don't let the facts interfere with you hearing the truth. You want to join the conversation, become part of the story, be the observer, be the actor or the director, or just simply ask or listen, what is the message for you? Are you willing to do that? If you're not willing, are you willing to act as if you were doing it? Yeah. All right, so interestingly, this is a letter, a portion of a letter, was written in 1970. It was a letter from James Baldwin, the writer, to Angela Davis, the activist. Baldwin is now dead. Angela Davis is still with us. 1970, I think she was on the run. People were looking for her before she went to prison for something she did or didn't do. Okay, so Get comfortable, get in your meditative posture. And just take it in and see what comes up for you as you enter into this story. We cannot awaken this sleeper, and God knows we have tried. We must do what we can do and fortify and save each other. We are not drowning in apathetic self-contempt. We do feel ourselves sufficiently worthwhile to contend even with inexorable forces in order to change our fate and the fate of our children and the condition of the world. We know that air and water belong to all mankind and not merely to industrialists. We know that a baby does not come into the world merely to be the instrument of someone else's profit. We know that democracy does not mean the coercion of all into a deadly mediocrity, but the liberty for all to aspire to the best that is in him or her, or that has ever been. We know that we have been and are the victims of a system whose only fuel is greed, whose only God is profit. We know that the fruits of this system have been ignorance, despair, and death. We know that the system is doomed because the world can no longer afford it, if indeed it ever could. We know that for the perpetuation of this system, we have all been mercilessly brutalized and have been told nothing but lies, lies about ourselves and our kinsmen and our past, and about love, life, and death, so that both soul and body have been bound in hell. Some of us know how great a price has already been paid to bring into existence a new consciousness, a new people, an unprecedented nation. If we know and do nothing, we are worse than the murderers hired in our name. If we know, then we must fight for your life as though it were our own. For if they take you in the morning, they will be coming for the rest of us that night. And so sit and see where your imagination takes you. I am so curious to hear where you went, and yet I'm comfortable with the ambiguity of not knowing where you went. I look forward to listening in to conversations on the patio at the end of the service.
All right. Your offering today goes to support of the work of multiple groups in our church, including our pastoral care ministry that provides support, presence, and companionship to members going through some difficult times. In addition, half of our Sunday offering this month goes to support Homeboy Industries. Homeboy is now one of the largest gang intervention, rehab, and reentry programs for incarcerated people in the world. Started right here in Los Angeles. People can get services like tattoo removal and an 18-month employment and reentry program, and also get substance abuse help. We invite you to contribute in whatever way feels right for you. Ways to give are displayed in the slide behind me. All the ways of receiving support are gratefully accepted. Good old cash or checks can be placed in the offertory bags that will be passed around shortly. Thank you for all that you give, monetarily and also through your time and care at church and beyond. The ushers are invited to come forward. Your offering will now be gratefully received.
I forgot I told Aubrey I was going to make a plug. So Dining for Dollars auction ends tonight at 8 p.m. We are usually the first event of Dining for Dollars, which is next week, next Sunday at 5 p.m. We are presenting our cabaret concert with the choir called Night at the Movies, featuring songs from cinema. So I hope you can join us. If you don't make it to the auction website today for any reason, we will be selling tickets at the door too. So come by, join us, listen to some music, have some popcorn, have some wine. It'll be a great time.
Now we can see that what we can do is limitless. What we can be with purpose and view is limitless.
Please rise in body or in spirit for our closing hymn. This is 1017 from our teal hymnal, Building a New Way.
So it takes a whole lot of people to put a service together. We who worship leaders were kind of surprised that the church was so full this morning. We are grateful that you came. We are grateful for the people who are on camera. And we want to pause to appreciate and acknowledge all of the people who makes this service work, starting in the corner, in the tech corner back there. And Aubrey is by herself this morning. But thank you so much, Aubrey. And our music, as you know, is something that I really, really appreciate. And it was exceptional this morning, exceptional in the sense of it's so much better than every other place that I have been. And what we expect when we are here. You all do such a great job. Thank you. And it's such a thrill when the whole choir sings. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Sonder. Thank you, Ryan. We have a sexton, and he always reminds me that he needs to be acknowledged. Well, I'm acknowledging him this morning. He's not here. But he was thoughtful enough to come in this morning, to say that he was not going to be here because he was sick, which is probably why I'm sneezing. But nonetheless, it's spring that makes me sneeze. Who else do we want to thank? The kids. And Emerson, I don't know how old Emerson is, but he knows who he was named after. That kid is amazing, and it's just such a delight to see so many kids. Jessica is doing such a fabulous job. There are some folks who get here, I don't know what time they get here, because I get here sometimes as early as 9 or 9:30, and they are already here. But the kitchen crew, so Linda Van Lichten, who does a little bit of everything. And the coffee crew, we are so grateful, and it's ready, and I'm going to let you go in a minute to get some. But the ushers and the greeters are out there every single morning. There are tables where you can get information. There are tables where you can get a name tag. There are tables behind which people are standing who are willing to talk to you about so many things about this community. And then under the shade structure, we have folks who are putting lunches together to give to folks who are less fortunate. We have so much going on, and we are grateful for that. If you look on the back of your order of service, you will see the many, many names. And then there are still others who are involved who put the order of service together. Rima is one of them, Pam Teplitz is one of them, and who make sure that the technology is working. Liz Fuller is another one. So we thank you, we acknowledge you, we appreciate you, we thank every single one of you who make this service work so wonderfully well. And I've never worked with him before, but I'm very grateful to John Hart, our worship associate, who has a smile like he's keeping a great secret. So you might ask him, what is it that he is smiling about? So anyone else that I need to acknowledge or that you want to acknowledge before we get out of here? Our piano player. Do we have a piano player? Absolutely. And we don't want to leave before we hear his postlude. So thank you all. Thank you all for coming. Have a wonderful weekend, however you plan to spend your weekend. Go knowing that your imagination is the key to you getting through this life with a smile on your face.